So giant tech companies are continuing to censor and deplatform people. This is a common occurrence now. Twitter also announced that it had taken down about 300 accounts promoting Iranian propaganda with anti-Saudi, anti-Israeli, and pro-Palestinian themes. So I warned you this was going to happen. At first they say, oh, well, it's only the really violent, hateful stuff that we're going after. And then that becomes, no, we're also going after fake news. People like Alex Jones, they got to go. And now it's these people are promoting anti-Saudi, anti-Israeli, pro-Palestinian themes. So what? Now you've moved it from it's got to be hateful to it's got to be fake news to now it's just, oh, this narrative is in favor of the Iranian government's position. And that's not a reason to pull it. Well, guess what? You might be sitting there thinking, well, why would they? I don't understand why they would even go down this road. Well, maybe this has something to do with it. Take a look. This is from Quartz from, I think, a year or two ago. A Saudi prince has increased his holdings in Twitter, making him the company's second largest shareholder. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal bin Abdulaziz, who in 2011 invested $300 million in the social network, now owns 34.9 million shares of Twitter's common stock, according to a new regulatory filing. At nearly 5.2%, his stake in the company is now larger than that of Jack Dorsey, Twitter's co-founder and newly reminted CEO, whose 21.86 million shares give him 3.2% of the company, according to FactSet. The prince previously had a stake of roughly 3%. Are you so sure that there wasn't pressure behind the scenes to act against on these accounts by the prince and his allies? Are you so sure of that? I'm not at all sure of that. I think it's absolutely possible that there was pressure behind the scenes because some of the shareholders of Twitter are top Saudi officials. I think there absolutely could have been pressure. Oh, hey, while you're going after the fake news, we define everything that's against us as fake news, so pull down those accounts. I warned you. Listen, the problem was the premise. That's what I think people are struggling to grasp about this, the whole Alex Jones thing. The problem was the premise. The premise being, we think it's okay for Silicon Valley oligarch billionaires to be able to pull people on a whim with no process and no transparency. See, if you wanted the pulling of Alex Jones, that's the premise you're agreeing to. That's the premise that you're saying, that's okay. I'm okay with that. My disagreement was always with that premise, that you need to have some sort of open, transparent process where everybody can see how and why you came to these decisions. And furthermore, I always said that social media platforms are now so big and so powerful that they should be regulated as public utilities. So free speech should apply in these realms. Now, that doesn't mean that you're never going to get any case of defamation and you're never going to get any direct violence that should be pulled. No, those are instances where you can pull it. But we should lean on the side of free speech. That should be the default position. And in instances where there is, some sort of deplatforming or censoring happening, again, process that everybody can see where you prove it, and then, okay, everybody gets why you would pull that down. But we don't have that. We don't have these platforms regulated like public utilities. There's zero free speech whatsoever. They get to pull down whatever they want for whatever reason they want, and if they even bother to tell you who they're pulling down or why they're doing it, it's just because they're being nice to you. That is a fucked up system. I don't agree with that premise. That premise is wrong. The premise of Silicon Valley oligarch billionaires can pull people on a whim and have no transparency and no explanation. I think that's wrong because it will inevitably be perverted. 100%. It's already been perverted. The idea that you think they're going to, oh no, seriously, we're only going to go after the hateful people, and I promise. Historically, when you allow censorship powers, it is always more used on marginalized communities, people with no money and no power. That is always how censorship is more used, 100% of the time. It's not a question. And they'll hold up the fringe examples where you might agree with the censorship to get you to buy into the premise, and then they have everything they need to wreak havoc And now, oh shit, look at that. You posted some stuff that's pro-Iran. Well, when you point out the historical fact that the CIA did a coup of the Iranian government in 1953, overthrew a democratically elected leader so us in the UK can keep jacking the oil, and then we put a dictator in place, the Shah, and then that led to the 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran. When you point out that fact, well, that fact sure does sound like something the Iranian government would want the world to know. Does it need to be pulled down now because, oh, you're saying things that are doing Iranian propaganda? It also happens to be true. Does that matter? Does that count? We'll never know. We'll never know. Now, whatever, we don't like that you said that, we're going to pull it down. I'm sure the same power structures that endlessly push for the Iraq war based on lies are the same power structures that are going to be objective about who to pull down and who not to pull down. By the way, are they going to pull down the Washington Post? They push for the Iraq war. How about the New York Times? They push for the Iraq war. Does that count as fake news? Should they get pulled down? They have more blood on their hands than Alex Jones ever did and ever will. Will they get pulled down? Of course not. And by the way, this isn't just Twitter. Platform I'm on right now, YouTube. They just pulled down 39 pages, and they're given the same reason. Oh, it has to do with Iranian propaganda. So let me get this straight. At the exact same time, Twitter and YouTube, and I haven't seen anything about Facebook, but I'm sure they're doing it too. At the exact same time, different social media companies agree to pull it down. At the same time, different social media companies came to the same independent conclusion. My ass cheeks, they came to that. Are you fucking kidding me? They are 100% meeting with U.S. government officials or U.S. government-sponsored people who are saying, oh, yes, we're the objective fact checkers here to protect you from fake news, and they're only picking the things that don't suit their narrative to be pulled down. How do you not see this? If you don't see this, you're being willfully blind at this point. The censorship and deplatforming door is open. It will not be shut. That's a terrible thing. It's deeply scary, and, we should all be united against it because it's unacceptable. And the ends, once you buy into the premise, the logical ends are as ugly as it gets.